We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Israel raids Hamas command center under Al-Shifa Hospital. Pro-Palestinian rally turns violent in Washington. New Hampshire schedules their primaries and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Police in Washington, D.C. responded to the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee as pro-Palestinian demonstrators grew violent as they called for an immediate ceasefire in the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. U.S. Capitol Police said about 150 people were illegally and violently protesting near the DNC headquarters building in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Washington. Officers are making arrests, Capitol Police said on X. It advised people to stay away from the area. The Capitol Police confirmed on X that 6 officers were injured during the clash on Wednesday evening. Authorities said the officers suffered injuries ranging from minor cuts, pepper spray burns, or being punched by protesters who turned violent. This stood in stark contrast to the peaceful gathering of 300,000 people who stood against anti-Semitism and for Israel in the Capitol on Tuesday. The Israeli military found weapons and Hamas military uniforms in Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital. Israel released a video showing military gear its soldiers had found during a raid on the hospital. Hamas has been using Al-Shifa to hide an underground command center, with patients serving as human shields. Despite the evidence and their long history of hiding in civilian areas, Hamas denied using the facility for military operations. Additionally, Israeli Defense Forces uncovered information about hostages taken by Hamas on a laptop found inside the hospital. Israel says the laptop had photos and videos taken of hostages after the October 7th massacre. Israeli forces say evidence indicates Hamas was using Al-Shifa Hospital as a base of operations within the last few days. At the end of the day, this is just the tip of the iceberg, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus stated. Hamas aren't here because they saw we were coming. This is probably what they were forced to leave behind. Our assessment is that there's much more. The Senate on Wednesday passed a stopgap spending bill to provide several more months of funding for federal agencies and avert a government shutdown ahead of a weekend deadline. The 87-11 vote ended Congress's third fiscal standoff this calendar year and sent the bill to President Biden for his signature. Speaker Mike Johnson proposed the current measure to extend funding for some agencies until January 19th and others until February 2nd. Because of bipartisan cooperation, we are keeping the government open without any poison pills or harmful cuts to vital programs. A great outcome for the American people, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said before the vote. The short-term bill, known as a continuing resolution, or CR, cleared the House on Tuesday on a lopsided 336-95 vote. The funding bill next heads to President Biden's desk for his expected signature. New Hampshire on Wednesday scheduled its presidential primary for January 23rd in defiance of President Biden's call that it give up its spot as the first state to hold its primary. Biden wanted South Carolina, a more diverse state that helped boost him to victory in 2020, to kick off the party's primaries ahead of Iowa and New Hampshire. The Democratic National Committee is expected to punish New Hampshire by reducing the number of delegates it can send to the Democratic National Convention, making the state insignificant in the race for the party's nomination. The dispute also affects Biden, whose name won't appear on the New Hampshire primary ballot. The measure shows that the Democratic Party is more interested in having party executives choose the nominee than listening to Democratic voters. Thousands of workers plan to participate in a one-day strike at more than 200 Starbucks stores across the United States on Thursday. The walkout is expected to be the biggest yet in 2 years of efforts to unionize the coffee giant stores. The Workers United Union scheduled the strike for Starbucks' annual Red Cup Day, one of the company's busiest days, to maximize impact. The union said it expected more than 5,000 employees seeking better pay and protesting understaffing to participate in its Red Cup rebellion. Starbucks downplayed the potential impact, saying the affected stores represented a small subset of its 9,600 company-owned U.S. stores. Over 100 Harvard University faculty members have signed an open letter responding to the school's new Combating Anti-Semitism initiative. The November 13th letter was addressed to Harvard University President Claudine Gray and questioned the school's commitment to free speech and expression. The faculty said they were astonished by pressure from donors, alumni, and members of the campus community to silence faculty, students, and staff critical of actions undertaken by Israel against Hamas. The letter goes on to justify the faculty's defense of anti-Semitism and terrorism. Alumni donors have come out in force, stating that Harvard will not receive money from them unless they protect the lives and safety of Jewish students. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.